Good day, everyone. My name is Cherissa Lagamon, and I will be your first reporter in today's discussion. So, first off, in the previous topics, we already discussed the following terminologies, such as the linear programming, decision variables, objective function, and model constraints. So, in this video, we will no longer give each definitions. So going back to the previous reports or videos, if we all remember that in chapter 2 and 3, there were two basic linear programming models that the other reporters have pointed out, namely the maximization problem and the minimization problem, wherein they used to demonstrate model formulation, graphical solution, computer solution, and sensitivity analysis. So basically, in this chapter, as you can see in the title, linear programming modeling examples, where we will give you model formulation. Furthermore, you will observe as you watch this video that each example, the model formulation, is presented in a systematic format. Systematic format meaning may sinusundan na steps or patterns. So without further ado, let's get started. Here are the main key points that we will be talking about in this chapter. First off, we have a product mix example, a diet example, investment example, marketing example, transportation example, blend example, multi-period scheduling example, and the data envelopment analysis example. For this video, let's discuss examples of product mix. From the word itself, product mix, so it is already a self-explanatory. So we'll proceed in the given scenario. So here is an example of the product mix. I already highlighted the main points for your better understanding. So the given scenario says here that the Quick Screen is a clothing manufacturing company, wherein it has been constructed to produce a standard set of shirts for the winning team. So they need to produce two kinds of clothes. Two sweatshirts, one with silk screen printing on the front and one with print on both sides. And the other is two t-shirts of the same configuration. So with these four sets of different products, the company has to complete all production within 72 hours after the game. Also, the company will work around the clock. The track has enough capacity to accommodate 1,200 standard size boxes. So a standard size box holds 12 t-shirts and a box of 12 sweatshirts in 3 times the size of the standard box. So the company has budgeted $25 for the production run. So it has 500 dozen blank sweatshirts and t-shirt each in stock, ready for the production. For the better understanding and view of the scenario, here's the overview of each unit cost per dozen and profit per dozen for each type of shirt. Also already stated there, the processing time per dozen. So, gaano ba katagal gawin yung isang dozen ng shirt or sweatshirts? So, first here, we got the sweatshirt that has a front print only. So, the time is 0.10. So, the cost is $36 and its profit probably is $90. Under that is the sweatshirt with the back and front printing with the time processing of 0.25. Cost per dozen is 48 with a profit per dozen 125. Other variable is the t-shirt that has a front print only. So the processing time is 0.08. Cost per dozen is 25 and its profit is 45. And lastly, the t-shirt with the back and front prints. So the processing time is 0.21. The cost per dozen of the t-shirt is 35 and its profit is 65. So the company wants to know how many dozen or boxes of each type of shirt to produce in order to maximize profit. So earlier, I've said that the model formulation is presented in a systematic format. So now I will be giving you the steps or pattern in order to find the answer to your problem. To find out the answer, keep in mind the three simple steps. First is to define the decision variables. Second is to define the objective function, and the last step will be defining the constraints or the model constraints. We will go to the first step to define the decision variables, wherein you'll be asking how many t-shirts or dozen of t-shirts and sweatshirts of each type to produce. This problem contains 4 decision variables. Now, bakit tayo merong 4 decision variables? Bakit hindi dalawa? Bakit hindi tatlo? It's because in the scenario given, you have to produce 4 types of different sets ng t-shirts and sweatshirts. So, representing the number of dozen of each type shirt to produce is we have, as you can see on this slide or in the screen, we have X sub 1 is equals to sweatshirt, front printing, X sub 2, sweatshirts, back and front printing, X sub 3, t-shirts with front printing, and lastly, the X sub 4 is equals to t-shirts with back and front printing. So, those are the variables or different sets na kailangang i-produce ng company. We already gathered all the decision variables. So, next step is the objective function, wherein you will be able to see what is the goal of the company, what is the objective of the company, and it's the maximization of profit or to earn profit yung goal ng company, number 1 goal ng company. So, paano ba natin malalaman yung total profit ng company na to, since halo-halo yung product, 'di ba, na i-produce natin? So, paano natin malaman if hindi ba tayo nalulugi or hindi ba tayo na sasobrahan sa expenses? So, all you have to do is to take note the formula. So, the total profit is the sum of the individual profits gained from each type of shirt. Meaning, yung whole or yung total profit ng products mo is magva-vary siya doon sa sum ng bawat shirt. Like, yung ilan ba yung profit na makukuha mo sa X sub 1, which is the sweatshirts, front printing, ilan yung profit mo doon. Yung profit na makukuha mo doon, i-add mo sa X sub 2, add mo sa X sub 3, and X sub 4. And the result of that will be your total profit. So, I hope you got it. After analyzing the first, second steps, we will be going to the last step, or define the model constraints. So, in this, we will know the restrictions and limitations given in producing these products or producing this goods. So, the resources available, including processing time, blank shirts, budgets, and shipping capacity. Now, the first constraint is for the processing time. So, the processing time, the total available time in between or periods between the end of the game and the truck pickup is only 72 hours. So, each type ng shirt, ilang oras mo dapat yun gagawin. So, indicated here is the 0.10 each ng sub 1, X sub 1. X sub 2, we have 0.25. In X sub 3, we have 0.08. And lastly, we got the 0.21 for the X sub 4. But take note, hindi lang processing time yung restriction or limitation sa paggawa ng t-shirts and sweatshirts. Second constraint is for the available shipping capacity, wherein it was stated above or in the scenario that 1,200 standard size boxes ang capacity ng isang truck. So, a box of sweatshirt is 3 times the size of the standard size box. So each type of sweatshirt is equivalent in size to 3 boxes of t-shirt. So this statement is expressed in the following constraints. We have 3 x sub 1 plus 3 x sub 2 and plus x sub 3 and plus x sub 4. So going to the third constraint or the restriction is for the cost budget. So ilan ba yung budget natin para sa isang type or each type ng products. So sinabi rin doon sa scenario that you only have or the budget available for production is $25,000. So in each type, like in the sub 1 or the sweatshirts front printing, the cost budget is $36, following the X sub 2 with $48. Next is the 25 X sub 3 and lastly the $35 for the X sub 4. And the last two constraints reflects on the available blank sweatshirts and t-shirts of the company. So stated rin doon sa last part ng ating scenario is that it has 500 dozen blank sweatshirts and t-shirts each in stock. So ready for production na yun. So it can be expressed in X sub 1 plus X sub 2, that is 500 dozen sweatshirts, and same with the 500 dozen of t-shirts. So we already gathered all the informations we need for our solution. So next step is we will jump into the computer solution with Excel. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to present to you the actual solving in Excel because of limited resources here in my place. But I will still explain to you how these things happens, what is the formula of this particular cell. While hearing this or while watching this video, I am encouraging you to please open your PDFs in the page 115 for better understanding. Every gathered information is indicated in the Excel. So I want you to look at the cell B14 to B17, wherein those numbers are the decision variables. Next is under that, in the cell B18 is the profit. How did we get that? It's with the formula the formula is equal B14 times D5 plus B15 times E5 plus B16 times F5 and plus B17 times G5. Next is in the cell H7 to H11 are the constraint formulas. So under the column titled usage. So for the example, for the processing time in cell H7, the formula is equal D7 times B14 plus E7 times B15 plus F7 times B16 plus G7 times B17. So the total of that is the answer in the processing time or the constraint or the other constraint. So the cells in H8 through H11 have similar formulas. So you just have to copy it and have a simple analyzation of what cells to add and multiply. We also have cells for the leftovers located in cell K7 to K11. So with the formula of J7 equals J7 minus H7. Same with the rest cells under leftovers. So here, gusto mong malaman kung ilan yung leftover between the available product or available shirts and sweatshirts minus the usage. So, ilan ba yung matitira sa'yo? So, after the computer solution with the Excel, we will jump into the solution analysis. So, you will see the model solution in the cells B14 until the B17. So it expressed as in X sub 1, we got 175.56 boxes of front-only sweatshirts. Next is the X sub 2, 57.78 boxes of front and back sweatshirts. X sub 3, we have 500 boxes of front-only t-shirts. So in X sub 4, we don't have for the t-shirts, back and front printing. So all in all, the total profit is $45,522.22. You might be wondering if saan po nanggaling yung $45,522.22 profit. So, baka isipin nyo that the X sub 1 until X sub 3, yung values nila doon, like 175, 57, and 500 is already the profit. No. So, in order for you to get the total of $45,000 or $45,522, you have to multiply the values in X sub 1 to the cost or to the profit per each type, per type. So, for example, in the X sub 1, you have 175.56 boxes of front-only sweatshirts. So, sinabi dito is nakaproduce ka ng 175 ng boxes. So, how many profits ang meron ka doon sa X sub 1? So, you have to multiply it to the 90 or the profit per box. So, 175.56 times 90 is equivalent to 15,800.4. Next is the 57.78 times the profit per box is 125 is equivalent to 7,222.5, and last is the 500 boxes. Multiply it to the profit per box in the X sub 3, which is 45, that will be result in 22,500. So all in all, you have to add the 15,800.4, the 7,222.5, and the 22,500 to come up with the answer of $45,522.22. Since yung result sa solution analysis or the model solution is an integer or not a whole number, so the manager of the quick screen might have to round off the solution to send whole boxes. So instead of getting the 175.56, the manager of the quick screen or the company will be just getting the 175 boxes. Same with the X sub 2, 57 of front and back sweatshirts, and 500 for the front only t-shirts. So this would result in a profit of, instead na $45,522.22 of profit, since whole number na lang yung kinuha natin, the profit will be 45,372 or 375 rather $1,000. So which we only subtracted the $147.22 in the optimal profit value of $45,522.22. So here's the overview of the computer solution with QM4 Windows. After formulating and solving this model, the company or the quick screen company might decide that it needs to produce and ship at least some of each type of shirt. Here's the overview of the sensitivity analysis. So maybe the manager of the quick screen wants to experiment with the constraints. So pwede niya rin gamitin tong analysis na to in order for him or her to see the effect on the solution of adding resources. So here ends my report. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.